Hello everyone, welcome to the second class of the watercolor module. In the first class we learned a lot of basic watercolor techniques and the wet on wet washes. Today we will learn wet on dry wash, or you can also call it glazing. Here we are going to use glazing to show the depth and to create the 3D object or the volume in the objects. Here you can see this cube I have kept under a strong light, and there are three clear values visible. This is the lightest value or the first value. This is the second value which has one shade up, and this is the dark value. So if I put this source little close to it, and it will be like completely white. Mostly there is nothing to show because everything is white. So I have kept the light source in such a way that I can see three values. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this cube with the Rubik's cube. I have switched off the light for a while, and you can see all the whites are same. The top white, the left white and the right white, all are the same. But as soon as I switch on the light, you will be able to see the difference in the colors. You can see the color change between blue, which is the first value of the blue. Here it looks little dark, and here this one looks really very dark. Change in value makes this cube look like 3D. So now let's see how to make this Rubik cube look 3D in our watercolor painting. This is the picture I have taken from still life setup. Let's begin with the coloring. I am going to leave whites because we don't have to paint white, it will be like paper white. And for yellow, you can mix yellow of your choice using the color theory lessons. You want it to be lemon yellow or chrome yellow or mix of lemon or chrome yellow. That's completely up to your choice. I am not going to focus on the color today. I'm going to focus more on the value. So let's say if I use a little bit of lemon yellow and a bit of chrome yellow, mix it to get my primary color for the yellow. So you can see I'm adding a lot of water to it, because you know watercolors are meant to be transparent. And I'm going to apply first layer for yellow. I would suggest you to paint a particular square only when you see that there are no wet boxes near to it, like this yellow is now dried and this yellow is also dried. Then only I'm going to apply my red layer here. For blue, I'm going to mix more of cobalt blue and less of Prussian blue to it. As I told you, it's completely your choice. You can use your color theory lessons to see the shade of the blue you have in your Rubik's cube, and you can match the color and do it. But right now it doesn't matter. We are going to focus on the values and also the transparency. So I have added more water here and a lot of water here. While painting something which has these many lines and corners and sharp edges, I would prefer a brush which has a very fine tip. You can see this brush has a very fine tip, which is helping me to get into the corners and paint it perfectly. Also, since this brush is pretty thick, so it is holding a lot of paint, so I'm not loading my brush again and again with paint. The first wash on the cube is done, and now we are supposed to do the background. For background, I have added a little bit of crimson to my earlier cobalt blue and Prussian mixture. You can add any color, it's okay. You can always do a swatch test, and that was a bit purple, and so I mix a little blue to it. So that's a slight water wash I have put, that's just the water. And now I'm going to take this blue which has a little bit of crimson in it. I'm going to add slight background. Since it's this light zone, I'll not be adding too much color this area. Make sure your cube is completely dry before you apply the wash behind it. Go slow near the edges It's the beauty of watercolor paint. It spreads itself around it so beautifully, so evenly. If it has enough water, evenly spread water around it. Okay, now my Rubik's Cube is completely dried, and since it's watercolor, it becomes, let's say, 30 to 40% lighter when it gets dried. I feel now the colors are very less, and instead of making a darker color or a thick color, as I told you, we shouldn't do it because the watercolor is supposed to be transparent. I'm going to add one more layer of that same transparent yellow on it, what I mixed earlier, to make it look a little bit more intense. My second wash of yellow is equally transparent, very transparent once again. And I'm working with the tip of my brush so that all the corners and the edges are perfect. This is how I have increased the intensity of the color, and not by adding more paint on it. Paint is not that much, just that I have increased one more layer on it. This is how I have applied one more layer of the paint on the Rubik's Cube. This cube is completely dried now, and we need a complete dry layer before we start with the glazing technique. Adding a little burnt sienna to same previous cobalt blue and Prussian mix will give us a very beautiful shade of grey or shadow, because blue is a cool color and burnt sienna is a warm color. They both neutralize each other and give a very beautiful grey tone. Okay, this looks more brown to me, so I'm going to add more blue to it. Okay, so it's a kind of cool shadow color, and I'll take a bit of it and keep it here and add more water. Now this is the glazing technique what we are going to learn. I have Rubik's Cube here where all the colors are looking same, and I have a shadow color. This layer is completely dried. I'm going to take off extra color because it's a lot of color in my bristles right now. So I'm going to remove it, and just with the sufficient color, let's check the transparency. It's quite transparent now. Similarly, I'll put one layer on my left hand side. So try to take enough color in your brush, not too less, not too much. We can see the change. This screen looks grayer than this one, and we need to apply a couple of layers like this. We can see yellow is also different. We need to let it get dry once again, completely dry, and by the time I'll color the shadow a little bit, I'm going to use the same color for the shadow. With a clean brush and clean and dry brush, we can always pick up some color if we don't want. I want some little highlight here. Both the layers are dried once again, and I'm going to repeat the same process, and I'll keep repeating the same unless I get the required result. Same color once again. It's a very light wash. I'll let it get dry once again. So almost dry once again, and I'll repeat the process. Before you apply it, please check it once on the paper that it is enough transparent or not. Every time your layer should be enough transparent, otherwise it will be like too dark and it will hide the color behind it. I think that's enough, and we can clearly see difference between this white and this white and this white. You can also see difference between this red and this red and this red. Similarly with blues also, this blue looks darker than this blue. So now it is time, and yellow, of course, this yellow is lighter, then darker, and then darker. So this is how we are done with the 3 values required to show the 3 planes. We are done with that, and now you can add some black lines and some detailed stuff to make it look even better. I did this long way back, and here you can see the details. I have filled some black in such a way that it gets a shape here, and then some white lines with poster paint, and there are some white pencil also have used to show that lift here for these things. So this is how, and you can clearly see this white and this white and this white, and this blue is darker than this blue, and this green is darker than this green, and the whole thing is very evenly spread. The whole shadow is, so otherwise we could have done white here and then some gray here and then some added gray here, but that relative value will get changed for everything. So it would be a better idea to just glaze the whole surface once and twice here, or maybe 2 times here and 3 times here. Adding some very dilute color here on the top. Why on the top? Because the top has the first layer of glazing, so that shows the top surface of the button, and this is the side, which makes these things look 3D. So this is how you can add details. Here I have added details, here I have not added details, so you can do it and submit your assignment. So this is the assignment for today's class. You have to use the glazing technique and do a 3D form of a Rubik's Cube. See you in the next class. Take care. Bye bye.